we flew home, and they gave us some time to decide. And we were kind of going back and forth, like, do we go to school? Do I do this band? Do we do this campground? Like, our head was kind of spinning, but we were really drawn to the campground. We wanted to do it. I think we both knew right away we wanted to do it. Like, it would be a great thing. The fear of leaving everything behind was there, and everyone we knew. We're at this Irish pub just hanging out one night by our apartment, and this girl was waiting on us, and it's Courtney, the girl that her boyfriend used to book the fireside and stuff.
Okay.
And I'm like telling her about this band that I'm going to be in. And Mandy gets like really upset with me, like, are you sure you're doing this band? I'm still like in limbo, like, am I doing it or am I not? We did end up probably within a few days, like, making a decision. We knew we wanted to do it. So we called my uncle back, and we talked to him and my aunt, and they hired us. So we're like, okay, we were moving in like 3 months. Wow, I have like 3 months to get everything that I could possibly want to get done, music-wise or whatever. So I play all my last shows. I record dorm life stuff, whatnot, throughout this period of time. I think I got a wrist surgery or a finger surgery. I got like a cyst removed. Anyhow, this is important. At that point, I didn't smoke a lot of weed, but every now and then, if somebody had weed, I would smoke it. My wife and I got in like a fight one night. I think we were drinking, I think, and we were just so angry at each other, but ended up being like I was more angry and whatever. And so check this out. So I go to work the next day like fuming. I think I did this twice while I worked at that place. This is still the messenger job. I'm in the back about to go deliver a package in the alley, and one of the guys is like, hey, you want to puff on this joint? So I take a hit, and I take another hit, and I'm blown. And I'm walking around delivering packages, and I get a call from my mom. She's like, hey, you want to do lunch? I'm like, I'm too busy. And I kept putting up. She's like, well, I'll make it work later on. I'm like, shoot. I don't want my mom to see me like high. So then I finally go meet her at the Sears Tower like 2 hours later, like hoping that this is going to wear off, which it didn't. I get there, and my wife greets me.
Oh, snap.
And I can't even think. I mean, I was high, but I'm so thrown off that she came to literally like apologize for the night before and have lunch with me. I can't even comprehend anything. I'm high. We sit down. She can just tell that I'm high, and she just starts to cry. That was the last time I ever smoked weed, and I will never smoke it again, because I can't even stand the thought of that moment and what that did to her. I hate myself so much for that. Not myself, but I hate who I was and how selfish I was, and it was just really, really selfish anyways. So we had some adjusting to do. Our marriage wasn't perfect. We ended up moving to New York and had to start all over. Didn't know anybody. Thought I knew who I was. I was a musician. That's who I am. That's just what I do, man. Now I know, like, I'm not a musician. I'm me. Music is just a part of what God created me to do. But I couldn't separate that. I thought I was that. So we got to New York, and my uncle said, hey, it's kind of important, I think, for you guys to go to church. And we didn't go to church. We were open to it, and we had been to church a couple times, like with her grandparents in Illinois, and at my parents' church once. But we went to this kind of more like seeker-sensitive church, and we didn't really like it. But we tried it, and God was really working on me. Like, there was still more that I hadn't really come out with. I think a lot of like our disagreements and arguments and me like being jealous at the beginning of our marriage and whatever. It really just stemmed from my dishonesty and things like that. Things that I was holding in that I wasn't telling her. And so my uncle, we had just met up with them because the first few weeks they weren't here. They were out RVing, traveling.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't even know him, And he comes back and he changed my life. I don't want to attribute it to like one person, but like if it weren't for my uncle, I don't think I would know Jesus right now. He had so many tidbits of wisdom, and the fact that he carried on every day with a smile, with Crohn's disease and neuropathy and kidney issues, and trusted people and trusted me and gave me a shot. He was just so generous. And we lived in the conference room. I don't know if you know what that's like, Daniel.
Oh, it was a good experience, really. It honestly was.
I think it was too.
It was.
But anyway, we lived in the conference room of the campground pool building for the winter.
Good smelling stuff.
And my uncle just seriously like woke me up. That's all I can really say. Like, he taught me that this is not a clock in, clock out job. This is a life. It's like being a farmer.
Yep.
You get up and you're always engaged.
Mm-hmm.
Like, something happens at nighttime, you got to go do it. It was different, and there's times when it wears on you, but I kind of like it. It's kind of like grown on me. I mean, there are times where I wouldn't mind having a break for sure, but
do you know what I've really enjoyed about it so far? And this is my first year here, everyone, working with Sam as a manager under him. But, as Christians, we've got this whole idea, I've got my work life, I've got my home life, and I've got my me life. And working and living here with my wife and my child, it's all one life. You know what I mean? There is no difference between work and home life and me life. It all takes place here with the same people in the same place.
Mm-hmm.
My closest coworker is my wife.
Right.
I mean, and I wouldn't trade that for anything, but it really it does grate on you. But I wouldn't trade that.
But it also like molds you together,
Yeah.
like more because you're so involved with each other.
Mm-hmm.
You communicate with each other all the time, and I love that. It took adjusting, for sure. Because like I said, I mean, I was pretty selfish before we came here. I mean, not that I'm not still selfish, but God's been working on me. So yeah, like my uncle, he said to me one time, we started attending this local church here, and that's where I actually met Dan. So started going to this church with my uncle and my wife and my aunt on Sundays, and the sermons weren't the most intellectual, so to speak, but there was always a nugget.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there was always something there that was like, okay, I'm glad I came at least for this, because I needed this. And my uncle was talking about honesty one time, how important honesty is. He was talking about how if he doesn't tell somebody like the truth, like even if it hurts them, he has to like get it off his chest and let them know before the sun goes down. Otherwise he can't sleep at night. Mm-hmm. I was just like, wow, what a conscience. So many people don't think like that. I mean, this is just like one thing that he said, and then we're kind of coming close to like coming to the Lord. We're going to church, and the pastor says like, a lot of us want to give 85% of ourselves, but like, Lord, you just can't have that 15%. Or Lord, you just can't have that 5%.
Yep.
I got to keep that for myself. I can't let that out. And it really impacted me, because I felt like I cannot be a Christian if I'm not 110% truthful and honest with my wife. This is like the pinnacle, I guess. And this is like the thing I'm least proud of myself, and it's hard for me to admit to people. I had mentioned that I had HPV. Mm-hmm. Well, the entire time that I was in all that debauchery, so to speak, I didn't tell any of those girls. And worse than that, like, I didn't tell my wife. I did finally tell her, but I was not honest about when that occurred. So she knew by the time we got married that I did have it. But it was that was really hard. It was hard holding it inside, that like I couldn't share that with her, that I was robbing her and that I could potentially be hurting her. I just had to get it off my chest. I said, I can't be a Christian. I cannot be a follower of Christ, Lord, if I cannot have the courage to tell my wife about this. I cannot live in fear anymore. I have no self-worth because it's just eating at me. And I'm going to wonder my whole life, well, if she knew about that one thing, oh, she wouldn't want to be with me. So one night, we were in the conference room and I told her the truth. And she forgave me right away and said, I don't care about that. I love you. And that was the greatest day of my life. To anybody out there who's struggling with telling somebody the truth, no matter how big or little, if you've done something to wrong them, especially someone that you love like that, I can't tell you what it's like to be forgiven. When you think all else and when you put it all on the table and you don't deserve any forgiveness at all. And that was the moment when I really dedicated my life to Christ. And that's how I came to the Lord. And I now have a beautiful son. That was the second best day of my life. I was witnessing him come into the world. And it's been just such an amazing time here at this campground. And I feel that God has blessed us so much. I got to build my own house. I didn't have to pay for it. I pay rent on it. I may take on a mortgage at some time. But I say these things because God has blessed me in ways that I do not deserve. And it's because of Jesus. That's the only reason that I'm here right now. And I believe that song I wrote a long time ago, or a few years ago, that I just read, I believe that sums it up. I believe that was a prayer to the Lord, and He was here to show me what I'm worth. The Lord has brought me very far. I think I have so much farther to go. I'm still delving into the Bible as an adult. I'm not done as an adult going through the entire Bible. But I long to be close to Jesus. And as the conspiracy stuff, it really doesn't matter at this point. After my son was born, I came across Leonard Ulrich's film, only because I found out about the Federal Reserve System. And that was only because somebody asked me a question about politics in my family. It got me thinking. And so I started to research some of the things. I was kind of on the right-wing train for a while.
Yeah, Mitt Romney.
Yeah. So, mittens. So, after that election, I was really on the right-wing train because my uncle was on the right-wing train, and I kind of associated that with everything that was changing here. Mm-hmm. And God was soon to show me that that is not part of Him at all.
Mm-hmm. It's a very good way to put it.
That is not representative of what a Christian is. And I really thought, I almost thought the two were simultaneous. Like they were one and the same. The way that I was raised in this country to believe certain things. And I just think it's so evil. after everything that I've studied and Daniel studied, I feel like,
And still studying.
yeah, I feel like we've barely scratched the surface. So I will wrap this up here. I came across Leonard Ulrich's film